Okay, we're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Dan Lee Darling, file number 22-02645 FY. Council Connect.
Brian Ring on behalf of the people. Thank you, Your Honor. Robert Palmer of the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Daniel Darling, who's standing.
I'm sorry.
I said Daniel and it's Dan.
Dan Darling. Yes, today's the date and time set for a sentencing and a restitution hearing. How are we proceeding?
Judge, I can give an update. A couple of things. First of all, with regards to restitution, there are two victims in this case. The restitution as to one is being stipulated to. That's the restitution as to Ms. Oxendale in an amount of $2,500. The other one, the other individual, Anthony Pettit, is much more problematic in terms of determining a value. We were intending to have a restitution hearing today. It's my understanding that Mr. Pettit is not here. I can let Mr. Ring address some of that, but my understanding is he's not here for what sounds like reasons that are not his fault. I think there's going to be a mutual request from both parties, or a stipulation, if the court accepts it, to adjourn to a different date so that they can have Mr. Pettit here and we can address restitution properly and try to have that taken care of. The other thing, Your Honor, is that in speaking to Mr. Darling, the PSI in this case is a little bit confusing to me because it indicates that he didn't show up for an interview, which I'm not really sure what happened there, but Mr. Darling's been in good contact with me and had filled out all of the paperwork at the original intake interview and everything, and was not advises me that he wasn't aware that he was supposed to have it, and does not remember being contacted about that. I'm not sure what happened there, Judge, but I'm surprised to hear that he didn't participate, because he's been participating with me and staying in good contact with me the whole time. I would ask that as part of that, because we're requesting an adjournment of the restitution hearing for a later date, I would ask that the sentencing portion of it also be adjourned so that he could get this issue cleared up, that he wasn't fully realizing that he had to.
They would have given you a date for it to show up. They would have been scheduled for interview on Zoom once you fill out that paperwork. And it sounds like they tried to call you. What's your phone number?
My number 517-927-3927.
That's the number we have, which is the number they tried to call you. Is your voicemail set up?
It might have been full at the time, Yana. Yeah, I usually go through it.
Well, but your responsibility, sir, to make sure this is taken care of. They can only do what they can do, which it sounds like they would set something up via Zoom, so you didn't have to appear in person.
I mean, that was so that'd be so easy.
Yeah, under the circumstances, I'm going to adjourn this. I'm going to advise you that probation is down to a skeleton committee until January, so it's not going to be probably until February.
Oh.
Yeah, there's only one or two people down there, I think, until at the
I would've
beginning of the
showed up.
year. So they're not going to be able to get to the PSI or your interview as early as I would like them on this matter. But I don't know when Mr. Pettis is going to be, or Pettit will be available. They did note here that he's requesting an amount. Is that the amount you guys are still trying to flesh out?
That's yes, ma'am. There's some. It's not my intention to argue this today, obviously, but
right.
Essentially the issue is that he's requesting restitution for some work that was done, or for some payment that was made to Mr. Darling. Mr. Darling did perform some work. Mr. Ring and I have been working together trying to figure out how we value the value the work that was performed as an officer.
Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor. I've spoken with Mr. Pettit in the past, especially at the plea, and he informed me that he was not going to take anything less than full value of his money back. And I tried to inform him that's not how it works. But here we are. Subpoenas did not go out. Unfortunately for this matter today, subpoenas did not go out.
Okay.
I did try to call him yesterday to inform and left a voicemail informing him that the court was today, but he's not here.
Sounds good.
And I guess just to be clear for the record, Your Honor, with regard to Ms. Oxendale, the value requested there is $2,500. We are stipulating.
Correct.
So no issues there. Obviously, if she wants to be here for that hearing, she's entitled to be as a victim of the crime. but I don't know that there's any need to subpoena her for that, obviously, because we're stipulating to that.
Okay, I've noted here that there's a stipulation to the amount of $2,500 as to Ms. Oxendale. I'll note that in the file. So it can be ordered at the time that we proceed with the sentencing. I'm going to get your new referral to probation. When you leave here, you'll go down there. They'll set you up for a new interview date. Make sure you remember that interview date. And then we'll get you a new date for your sentencing and your restitution hearing at this time.
February 24th at 1:30.
February 24th at 1:30. Any additional matters for the record, council?
Nothing for the people. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing for the, commissioner. Thank you.
Okay, you're all set for today. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to just have some, well, I got one other thing, and then this guy will be down. Okay.
Okay. Is Mr. Flores here?
I guess I'll check the hallway one more time.
No worries. We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Bruce Herman Eddy, file number 22-01596. Council appearance, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ayana Neal appearing on behalf of Bruce Eddy, who was present and seated to my left, and we consent to participating in the sentencing via Zoom.
Today is the date set for a sentencing. I do have a pre-sentence report. It was prepared back on November 7th, 2022. And counsel, you received a copy of this already?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any need to make updates, corrections, or deletions?
I do have one correction as it relates to custody. It indicates 1 day credit. We believe that should be 0. Mr. Eddy and I appeared for an arraignment, and he did not serve any time in the Ingham County Jail. So on page 1 at the top under custody, that should be changed to 0, as well as on page 3 under jail, that should indicate 0 days in the Ingham County Jail and credit for 0 days.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's see. Well, let me see. Nonetheless, I've updated that on each file. There's also a restitution sheet in here, but we did not set this for restitution hearing, correct?
Your Honor, at the time of sentencing, we had stated on the record that restitution was to be determined. We do object to the restitution request that was sent by Borales, and that's listed in the recommendation sheet in the amount of $14,143.70. And when the court would like me to, I can discuss why we are objecting to that amount.
Oh, you can do so at this time, because when I saw that amount, I was wondering why it wasn't set for a hearing. So I'm inclined to set it for one.
So we would be in agreement with that if that's how the court wants to proceed. Our position regarding the restitution amount is that in the letter that was sent from Steve Kazmarek to the probation department, it looks like Borales is requesting $12,500 for estimated number of bikes we could have sold in the Lansing area, and is conservatively estimated at 10 bikes. As the court is aware per statute that as it relates to restitution is to make a victim whole. And as it relates to restitution, one of the things that the court can order for restitution is that if there was property damage or taken from a victim, that the property, if it is still available, is to be returned to the victim. And Your Honor, in this case, there was a raid at the defendant's business, and the bikes that had been essentially purchased but not paid for by Mr. Eddy were recovered by the police on August 6th of 2021. So that's why we're contesting that $12,500 amount that's listed in the email to the probation department.
Okay. 12,000.
And then additionally, Your Honor, as it relates to the other amounts that the victim is requesting, they're requesting the sales rep time at $25 an hour. We don't believe that that would be something that would be covered by the statute as it relates to a restitution claim for $750. We do believe that the cost for the return of the bikes via the shipping cost would be appropriate, minus $125, because I do have documentation that my client did return one bike. I believe it was via USPS, and he does have receipt that he paid $125 for return of one of the bikes.
Okay, sounds good. And so I think it is appropriate in this particular matter to set this for a restitution hearing. I will do that. In the interim, did you want to make any further allocation? Because I don't see why I would need to not continue with this sentencing at this time.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you said you want to continue with sentencing at this time?
Yeah, I'm inclined to continue with this sentencing, and we can set it for a restitution hearing as it relates to the amount that the victim is seeking. And
Okay,
if I
yeah.
need to update judgment, I can do that, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward with sentencing at this time.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Yes, in terms of allocution as it relates to Mr. Eddy, I would indicate to the court that he does have past similar conduct as it relates to his criminal history. However, Mr. Eddy has been doing his best to not have any additional contact with the court. He is gainfully employed. He does own and operate a biking business. I would also indicate to the court that as it relates to this situation, he absolutely was trying to do his best to make payments to the vendor. As it relates to the bikes in this case, it's my understanding that the bikes were not complete bikes. I believe he received a few complete bikes, but did not have all of the parts for what would be described in the biking industry as complete bikes for sale. And so that did put him in a financial situation in which he was not able to provide full payment to the vendor victim in this case. I would indicate to the court that Mr. Eddy has been on bond for some time for this case, that while on bond, he has not had any violations whatsoever. I would indicate to the court that I believe that Mr. Eddy is at a place in his life and at an age in his life where he does not want any additional court involvement. He is very aware that just because of his prior criminal history, that he absolutely has to handle every type of business dealing, as he would describe, above board, so that there are no other issues like this in the future. So as it relates to the recommendation, we would ask that the court follow the Killebrew agreement. As it relates to the probation, just given the time that Mr. Eddy has been on bond, we think that a 6-month probationary period would be more appropriate. We believe that the other conditions that are listed on the recommendation sheet would be appropriate. And I do believe that Mr. Eddy also would like to address the court. Thank you.
Mr. Eddy?
Hi, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Board dresser. Oh, I'm sorry about the delay. I can't dispute anything my attorney just said because I was trying to sell bikes and I've gotten the biking business because it's a thing of passion for me because I do a lot of biking myself. And I'm not looking to be in the court system anymore. And I just trying to, I guess, just basically just want to do the right thing and live my life out. So everything she says is correct and I don't dispute it. So.
Okay, I've had an opportunity to review your pre-sentence report as well as your prior criminal history. The report gives the impression that you have a moderate or low risk as it relates to the categories of your attitude and behavior domain. It just reiterates essentially what both you and your attorney have indicated here today during your allocution or addressing the court. But your prior convictions, I think, are pretty on par to this type of behavior. It surrounds making poor decisions when it comes to finances or how you're coming about your financial means. I respect the fact that you are a business owner and that you're doing something that you are otherwise passionate about, which is selling bikes, and that's something that you said you like to ride, but you got to do it in a manner that is responsible and in a manner that's legal. And you need to start making decisions that put you before the criminal justice system. I'm not sure how much probation can assist you. I really can't say. I'm inclined to believe that you've done a stint or two of probation for similar activities and it's not yielded much results. So really, it's just about your mindset. It's about you making a decision that you don't want to do this anymore. And I hear everything that sounds good that you don't want to do that, but it's really about your actions and what you want to do. I don't think that the court needs to have oversight over you for another 12 months to see that. Again, you've been on bond for some time. We haven't had any bond violations. You retained counsel in this matter. You are still running your business. I am going to grant the request to do a shorter term of probation than a full year. I will place you on a term of 6 months probation. While on probation, you'll have the following conditions, sir. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or marijuana or any other controlled substance without a valid prescription. You're going to be required to submit to random preliminary breath tests and/or your analysis while on probation. I'm going to order that you maintain your employment. There's a $30 per month oversight fee that you'll be responsible for while you're on probation. And for 6 months, that'll amount to about $180. Restitution is to be determined. We'll get you a date for a restitution hearing.
January 13th at 1:30.
Does January 13th at 1:30 work for you? If it's not, we can get you another time.
Yeah, I'll make it work. It works for you.
Yes, Your Honor, January 13th at what time?
1:30 PM.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Is it Zoom or
so we'll
we-
set that. Did you ask me, was it gonna be via Zoom?
Yes, I am, I'm sorry, I asked that question.
Oh, yep, it'll be via Zoom. That's
Okay.
completely fine. Okay, and
Thank you.
so. Will not order any programming at this time. However, I will note that should there be a recommendation for any such program from probation, that you are to comply with that recommendation, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's a $75 crime victim rights fee that will be assessed, plus the $50 state minimum cost. That also will be assessed. Gonna assess a fine of $500, and then we'll address restitution at the time of your hearing. Do you have any questions about your fines and costs?
No, I don't, Your Honor. Oh, no, I don't, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Ring, you're gonna be able to get the victim subpoena on this.
Yes, Your Honor, I will go back and make note of that.
Okay, sounds good. Any additional matters for the record today?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Eddie, you'll be in contact with probation. They'll go over my order, and you'll be able to review and sign in and get it back. Okay, sir?
Okay, how soon?
I really, however, it used to be, so I don't know how it's gonna be right now because we're short staffed because of the holiday. I think there's 1 to 2 people down there until January. So it may take some time before you hear back.
You'll contact me.
I would say by the beginning of the year, you should have had something or some contact by the first of the year, okay?
Okay, Your Honor, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions at this time?
I don't have any.
You're all set then. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to bring short Mr. Flores. Have you been in contact with him at all?
I have, Your Honor, I have not had any contact with him since he entered his, he was in custody at the time he entered his plea. I argued bond for him and convinced the court to let him out, and then he's not here. I believe he also had a failure to appear on some misdemeanor matters that were set before your docket or set on your docket, Judge, between the plea taking and today's date. So I think he already is in warrant status. I have, for whatever it's worth, but I tried to get in touch with him.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we'll see if we can get him in custody and then we'll reset the sentencing.
Thank you, ma'am. And I guess I had one other, I think they already took it off the docket.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's not here.
Robert Mitchell.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's bench warranted on another matter too.
Okay, sounds good.
That's the way my week has been going.